Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Before we start, a little backstory. Okay, we're gonna start this video a little bit different. I think a few fishing trips back, my cousin, who's always fishing with me, and we've been fishing together for such a long time. He's kind of modernizing everything, and so I'm helping him out and everything. And this one particular trip really stands out to me because this is the whole reason for this video. When we were fishing, I was catching fish after fish, and he was not catching anything. In fact, he said, I would go as far as actually saying that, hey, help me out, man. I seem to not be getting strikes. And lo and behold, I think he only caught one fish that day. And while we were, packing up, I said like, hey, I don't understand, man. You're only standing a few meters away from me, and you were essentially casting towards the place where I was catching fish because I was telling you to cast there. And I don't get it. Anyway, when I looked at his rod and reel, I said, okay, so I know what's wrong. And I was trying to explain this whole thing to him, and now I'm explaining it to you guys. So today, we're actually going to be talking about how to properly match your reels, your line, and your rod. Okay? Before we get started, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to this channel. I talk a lot about tips and tricks to help you with your fishing. We cover everything from ultralight, big game, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. Let's get to this. All right, so we have two systems here. We have a bait casting system, which is my light outfit, and we have a spinning outfit, which is my ultralight outfit. Now, I'll tell you this, guys. Don't reinvent the wheel, okay? Information is on the rods themselves. Now, if you buy proper rods and reels, the information is there, okay? Let's look at this rod first, okay? Now, I'm gonna have to zoom in for this, and I'm gonna go like that so that it doesn't move, okay? So we are going to zoom in, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the rod has a lot of information written, okay? You can see here that it says PE 0.3 to 1, and then it has 3 to 10 pounds. You have your lure weight, which is 2 to 15, and you have your length, okay? The most important is since I'm using braid, it's PE, okay? So most important thing there is the 0.3 to 1 for me, okay? This is a long rod. It's 8.6, and we're gonna talk about that later. Lure weight is also very important because what you want here is the maximum, which is 15 grams. Now, I would not cast anything over 10 grams on this rod, okay? I'll say that right now. In fact, I wouldn't go as far as 10. So it'll be 2 to around 6 for me. Now, if you want to cast anything heavier on rods that actually tell you they go up to 15, 15 is actually already very dangerous, okay? And you stand a chance to actually break the rod. So I don't even go there. 10 would be my maximum, and that would be when I'm kind of desperate or lazy, okay? More than likely, I'd be using up to 6 or 8. Okay, 8 is already pushing it for me because when I cast this, I actually load it. Okay, and again, I just don't want to break this rod. This rod isn't cheap, but it's also not that expensive. Okay, there are more expensive rods out there, but I happen to like this rod, so I don't want it to break. All right. Now, second thing that you need to look at would be your reel. And for this example right here, you could see that the line weight also says PE 3.3, okay? And it also tells you exactly what the capacity is. So for PE 0.3, it would be right here on the bottom, Power Pro. It says 3 is 115. So you have a reel that says PE 0.3 and you have a rod that says PE 0.3. Okay, now that's at the bottom of the range, and this corresponds to the length. I use this for shore fishing, and this is the longest rod I can find in this range. Okay, which means that at 8.6, at 0.3 line, which I have here, okay, this will cast the farthest, and it will cast 2 grams to 6, the farthest. Okay, the farthest. And if I put 15, yes, it'll be even farther. And that's very important. Now I always stay in the lower end, okay, which means that I put 0.3 on this, and I know that I have at least or around 115. With this rod, not only do I have a lightweight rod and reel, but also one that casts the distance. Okay, very comfortable. I could use it the whole day without getting fatigued, and that's very, very important. Okay, now it's the same for the baitcaster. The problem with the baitcaster, of course, it doesn't have any markings, but if you look at the box, it does tell you its capacities. Okay, now if you're spooling braid on this, you'll end up with a lot more, and that's the thing with this reel. It's actually it has good capacity. I have 300 of 12 of this line right here, which fits it perfectly. Now for the rod, and this is the rod that I use for 10 grams. Okay, this rod tells you that it can carry up to, okay, so right here, the information's right here. It says 8 to 42, okay, and it's PE 1 to 2, and 12 pounds is right around the PE 1. So with this system, I use, most of the time, I use 10 to 15 grams, and that's it. Okay, these two are actually a pair. Whenever I take this, I take this, because the range of the lures that I would be using would be anywhere between 2 grams up to about 15. So 10 and 15 up to about 20 grams, I can use this combo, and any lighter, I would use this right here. Okay, and that is how you actually get the most out of your rod and reel. Unfortunately, there is no combo that does it all. You can't have an ultralight rod that casts up to 20 grams. Okay, that's not possible. There are combos that are actually in between these. Again, it's a compromise. You won't be able to cast something really light and then cast something really heavy, because the makeup of the rod and the reel are just not going to make it happen. Okay, so the most important thing there is that you actually balance your line, reel, and rod to suit your needs. I have bait casters for ultralight. That's not the issue, and it's fun. I love using them. But the thing is, if you want a worry-free experience, stick with spinning rods and reels for ultralight. That it just makes it simple. If you want to go into BFS, great, go ahead. You know, it's so much fun as well. Just that, remember this, when you're going into BFS, it's a whole new system, and especially when you get into modifying, and if you want more of it means that it's just kind of like the lower functions, like casting tiny lures that are really light, which the spinning reel does so well. To be able to do that, you need to spin. So you have to replace your spool for a lighter spool, this and that. So as you can see, there's just jobs that are easily and comfortably handled by the right gear. And this is what's important. Now here's a very good trick, okay? Especially when you're using soft plastics, okay? So when you're putting the reel on the rod, okay, this is what I do. I tap this side right here, okay? And guess what? After that, there's still a bit of turn that you could do until it's really tight. Now, you want to install your reels onto to your rods really tight, because if you do that, it'll actually maximize the transmission of the vibrations. And again, that day when my cousin was actually fishing, his line was a bit thicker, okay, so he couldn't really get the distance. That is one, okay. His rod was all right, but his reel was a bit too big, okay. And more importantly, the reel was actually kind of loose, okay. It was tight, it was secure, but it wasn't super tight. Super tight on the rod. And the more your reel is actually super attached tightly to the rod, the more it will transmit vibrations. When you're fishing soft plastics, sometimes the fish inhale the soft plastic and you would only feel a slight twitch. And when that happens and you don't feel that, you will miss the fish because they will spit it. Okay, for spinning reels, you actually loosen this up a bit and then you push it like that. Okay, push it until it really jams inside. Tighten, push it again like that. Okay, and then you'll find that you can still twist it. The moment you can twist it again and then it locks up, that's it. So your reel is going to be fixed onto your rod, and it's gonna be fixed there tightly, and that will help transmit most or more vibrations to your rod. And that's just one little trick that you could use to actually increase more catch. All right, so yeah, I hope these tips are useful for you guys. And if you haven't yet, again, please subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more videos like this in the channel, so go ahead and browse. If you like this video, leave a like, and guess what, guys? I'll see you in the next one.